Leanne Phillipson, registered nutritionist, and it's day 8 of self-isolation for myself and my daughters. Anyway, I don't know what day you happen to be on, probably feels like day 57 or a million, because it's just the time that we're in right now. So welcome to Cook Together. Thank you so much for being along. How are you doing? How are you navigating this? Really, as I don't think the word unprecedented has been said so many times in the past little while, but it really is a time when we just don't know. We've never lived this before. I haven't lived this before. Maybe older generations have lived through pandemics and things like that. But this is us. This is us here in the kitchen. This is me in the kitchen, doing my best to inspire you to create meals for the family, get the kids into the kitchen. Maybe they can watch this along and they can partake in making a meal so that you yourselves are having some time off or time together. Whatever it happens to be. That's really what this is all about. Logan will wave her arms. My 16-year-old daughter is my tech expert. She's waving hello.
Auntie Janine.
And hello Janine, how you doing? This one's one for Vianney and Jay to make for just keep the birthday stuff kind of going along. This is my sister who's in Sydney, so we really couldn't be further apart in our distance. So today we're going to make one of my favorite recipes, no matter what time of year it is. This is the quesadilla recipe, and while it's in my book, Sprout Right Family Food, it's called Bean and Veggie Kamut Quesadillas. In my book, I'm suggesting that you're using Kamut wraps, which today's wraps come to you from Logan. She just made a whole bunch of these this afternoon. She's feeling like she's a pretty big rock star right now. But let's say that instead of wheat flour in these, because that's all we happen to have, she used Kamut flour to make them, then you would have your own Kamut wraps. A long time ago, I used to buy Kamut wraps for the girls and wrap all their whatever they were having for lunch in them, or I would use them for quesadillas. So I just left the Kamut in there because it gives you another something to think about or consider. But really, you can use any wrap. The rice paper wraps that I used in day 7, not appropriate for this unless you're going to wrap all this stuff up. That's what we did yesterday. So this is the beauty shot of the quesadillas, and basically in this you can throw anything. So yesterday when I made the veggie wraps, the rice wraps, then we chopped all of this up. So this was sitting in the fridge, and this is exactly why we do this, because when you've already done this, then you're just going to use this. You're just going to chop them up a little bit more for the quesadillas. I've got still some leftover chicken. In the original recipe, I suggest you use adzuki beans. This is the Eden brand adzuki beans, and you can see on the can, maybe you can or can't in there, that these are really, really small beans. I'll open them up in a second and show you. And I've got some broccoli left over from probably 2 or 3 nights ago that's not looking so fresh. So that's gonna go in there too, because it's all gonna be glued together by some cheese. Use vegan cheese, use any kind of cheese that basically melts that, anything that's gonna glue these two babies together. So I'm gonna choose a couple here that look like a fairly similar size. Logan was doing her best to get her wraps looking fairly similar. So those actually not too bad of those two. These are a little on the thicker side, but that's totally fine because it's just going to keep you going for a little bit longer with some fiber in there. So Logan, you were waving your arms around there for a minute, which normally means that there's a comment or something happening.
Auntie Janine just said that she made these yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, great. And what did you put into them? What was left in your fridge that you could throw in there? You can comment so everybody else can get some inspiration too. So I have a little bit of red onion here, which I'm gonna first chop up. So basically anything that you want to put into this, any bits of leftovers that you've got hanging around when you root through your freezer, go and find those bags of frozen that you've got sitting there that you really would like to use up. Perfect place to put them in. There's that little piece that I was looking for, and Logan very kindly reminded me after I cried when I chopped onions a few videos ago just to watch out. And this is a pretty strong red onion, although red onion doesn't tend to be too strong. Logan tried out one of her wraps with some smoked salmon and some onion, and then she decided to put on some horseradish. She was crying herself. So I should have known that that would be a fairly strong onion. So here I have some that not so clever looking broccoli, just fast chop, and I'm just gonna throw everything into this bowl here. The more colors, the better. So let's take some of all of these peppers. These are carrots, which were perfect for the rice paper wraps. So just chop all of that up nice and finely and throw all of that in. So this is the perfect place to hide some greens. If you wanted to use some kale, that's tremendous. If you want to use some spinach, that's amazing, because spinach just wilts. You can really pretty much hide spinach in anything. My kids try and tell me that they can taste it even in their smoothies, even though I don't think they do. Sometimes I go a little over the top with everything that I put in there, so maybe they're not always wrong, but still. Here's some cilantro. That was left over from yesterday too. Like seriously, anything can go into these. In the post that I wrote that has the recipe, I mentioned that when I was on the social last August, promoting my book when it first came out in July, in the summertime, then one of the hosts of the social, which is a Toronto-based CTV sort of like daytime talk show kind of thing, one of the hosts, she doesn't have kids, so she said, well, I'm not really trying to hide anything in here, so what would you suggest? And I said, oh my god, if you've got some leftover steak, put that in here. If you've got some gorgonzola, blue cheese, anything like that hanging around, throw that in there too. I'm actually going to put a little bit of beets in here too, just because to get that rainbow type effect. Yes, Logan?
Tracy Devine is watching, and she said they know it's in there and I can taste it too.
Tracy, oh Tracy. Thank you so much to Tracy. She did some shopping for me today, so yeah. I'm gonna let you off the hook because you were tremendous by doing our shopping today, but I know how picky you are, and I know how picky some people can be, and over the years of knowing Tracy, aka the sleep doula, then she's eating a lot more good stuff than she used to. So people can change. I believe, is it broccoli, Tracy, that you finally might eat a little bit of? Okay, so here I've got another bowl, and into this I've got some grated cheese, which I've already grated. So that's going in here. As soon as my dog smells cheese, she's all around my feet going, huh? Where's the cheese, Mom? Where's the cheese? Where's the cheese? Are you gonna drop some like you normally do? No, I'm not. Okay, so in my book, I actually suggest that you take your wraps, put a little bit of cheese on it, so you're kind of doing a bit of a pizza type effect. Then you take some of this. Actually, I forgot the chicken. Hang on. Yes, Logan.
Tracy said no hiding vegetables is against the law, which is a fact, and no broccoli.
No broccoli. I thought there was something that you eat now that you didn't used to. Maybe a green bean or something like that. Speaking of green beans, I have some green beans that are not looking so clever, so they could go in here too. Like seriously, people use this like just clear out your fridge. You don't have to tell everybody that that's what you're doing, but seriously, clear out your fridge with all the stuff that is it's not that it's not good. You're not trying to put in foods that's going to end up giving someone like a digestive issue, but at the same time, it's great to be able to put things that, my kids won't eat something if it looks a little bit off. So this is the perfect place to do all of that. So there's two ways of doing this. You can either throw the cheese into, look how beautiful that is. You can either throw the cheese in here so that you've got all the mixture together, or you put the cheese on first because that's going to melt and it's going to act like like the glue. And then you pile on as much as you can. I tend to maybe go a little bit overboard with the vegetables, but that's just what I do. And then a little bit more cheese on that, and then into my warm frying pan. I've got my cast iron frying pan all ready to go. Throw that in. Logan's fabulous wrap there. I'm gonna transfer that over. She's very proud of all of the lovely brown bits and everything like that are on there. So yes, she's done a tremendous job. So that's just gonna go into the frying pan here, and it's basically just gonna kind of melt and just get a little bit hard, you know, kind of like, not hard, but it just goes a little more crispy when you do it like this. Toasted, that's the right word. Thank you very much. You can tell it's towards the end of the day. So I'm gonna make up another one, try and find a couple. Of course, when you buy these, ooh, that's a nice big one. Still a little off, but that's okay. Of course, when you buy these, then they're very uniform, but seeing as Logan made them, we're definitely going to use them. And truthfully, they taste a million times better. And it was really interesting to hear Logan say, "Wow, Mom, we're never gonna buy the store-bought ones again. These taste so good." And I said, well, most stuff does. Let's try and make some, I don't know, real bread instead. We don't really eat that much bread anyway. I certainly don't. But they do a little bit more. Look how pretty this is. Look at all the colors in this. Got, oh, I forgot about the beans too. Hang on, let's throw some beans in here. Let me find my, there we go. Let me show you what the adzuki beans look like. Now, you can rinse them. You don't have to. With the Eden brand, they cook their beans in kombu seaweed. So when you see that on the label, because it's always good to read your labels, when you have a look at that label, it does say kombu on it. And if you've never heard of that before, the kombu seaweed, then know that it's tremendous. It really helps you to digest the beans, not only so that you don't get all gassy, but also it imparts a lot of nutrients into the beans as well, because seaweed is one of the most nutrient-dense sea vegetables that there are. So here are some adzuki beans. Look how small they are. They're so cute. So these, even for anyone that doesn't love beans, then these are fantastic, because it's not like getting a kidney bean in your mouth or something that's really has a lot of that bean type texture if it's not loved. So I will just put this in comme ça. A little bit more cheese. These pack up really, really well and are fantastic day 2, day 3. So when you are making school lunches again, when that day comes and the kids go back to school here in Toronto, we heard today that no in school until May the 4th, I believe. Whoops, didn't tell Logan that earlier. She just went. So, in our lives, then there won't be much going on in terms of lunch until then, probably. So, yeah, oh, if you could see your face. Okay, so in the frying pan, then it's kind of toasting, melting. I can have that up a little bit higher. This hob goes either kind of warm to super hot to really cold. So really, before we flip it, let me show you. Before we flip it, we really want most of the cheese to kind of have been melted, which is not happening just yet. So if I were to flip this now, everything would kind of fall out. So I've just turned it up a little bit. I'm gonna leave that just for a couple more minutes and allow the cheese to melt. Because the worst thing is when you try and, whoops, there goes Logan's phone. When you try and flip it, when everything has not yet melted and is kind of like the glue holding it together, then everything just falls out. But if on the plate it all falls out, then that's fine. Just give a fork. Your toddler, if you're feeding this to your toddler, then they might just sit there and pick it up. If you're sitting in front of an adult that doesn't love the vegetables anyway, like Tracy, then you can lovingly encourage them to eat them a little bit more. So let me see. Yeah, it doesn't take long. I'm not quite sure what sort of cheese this is that I've got here. This again was purchased for us by a good friend who's doing our shopping right now. So it doesn't really matter what kind of cheese it is as long as it melts. Some of the vegan cheeses don't melt quite as well. I wouldn't use a cream cheese or a cottage cheese or anything like that. You want like something that would go stream. Mozzarella would be totally fine. But if you want a little bit more taste and flavor, like an old sharp cheese is super tasty. Something like gorgonzola or blue cheese doesn't really tend to stick as much, so it's a bit more of a mess, but you know, it's all going to go down the hatch in the end. Okay, so just a nice big spatula underneath that. I kind of pressed it all in together. Flip it over, and then you can see on this side that it's kind of getting a little bit more brown. Only a few bits have fallen out. So I've made huge stacks of these before to take for picnics, to take sailing, to really they can go anywhere. And because you've got everything in there, I tend to chop them up either in 4 or just do pizza shapes. Then the kids can just sit there. They can dip it in some guacamole. You can give them some tzatziki maybe if they like that kind of thing. I don't know if ketchup's appropriate for this, but basically you're starting with all these amazing vegetables. You can add in whatever protein. Like I said, you can use the cute adzuki beans if you want for extra fiber, but this really is as easy as it gets. It ends up being a tremendous use of anything that's left at the bottom of the fridge with that little bit of cheese in there. So that's it for today. I would suggest serving this with a nice big salad on the side. Get some more vegetables in there. Remember that all those vegetables are huge for fiber. They're huge for plant nutrients that they don't even have names for yet, as well as all of the antioxidants which help the inflammation, which is so important for our immune system. So in order to really super boost your immune system, or actually, no, I'm going to correct myself, in order to support your immune system, because it's not like you're kind of trucking along, then all of a sudden you go and eat some red pepper and then there's a big spike in your immune system. This stuff needs to be going in every single day because you need to have really strong immunity, especially with everything that's going on in our crazy world right now, and we want to keep that super high. So you know, that's why I've got the Kid Boost for all of those antioxidants that are going in. If you want to stick some fish in here too for more anti-inflammatory properties, then that's absolutely tremendous as well. So it really just depends on what it is that your family like. Okay, so now that I have turned this up, it's starting to smoke. There we go. So I'm going to show you quickly how it kind of looks a little bit more toasted here. Turn that down a little more. Just want that to toast a little bit more on that side, because it does go very toasted. And then if you're saving these and you're putting them into a container a little bit like this, then know that you really want to cool them down, otherwise they go super floppy, which are fine, but sometimes it's nice to have them a little bit more on the toasted side. So that's that one done, and while that one's done, let me just put this one in. There we go. So this guy here is looking nice and toasted. Can you see that? Or hear it? That's with my nails, my nice long nails. And then you can just chop that up, comme ça. Oops. Like that, and then like that. And if you wanted to use a gluten-free flour, I've never really made a wrap with gluten-free flour, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. And then that's it. Hey presto. Yes, Logan.
Carolyn Hoshkin says, "Hey there, looks delicious. Thank you."
Hello, lovely. Oh my gosh, it's been such a long time. How great to hear from you. I hope everybody's doing all right over there, Simon and the kids. are doing all right in the land of, I'm not even sure where you are, and I know that you're a GP, so I hope that everything's going okay with the work that I can only imagine that you're doing right now. So do give my love to the kids. Yes, Logan.
Christina Fitzgerald said, "Hi guys."
Hi, Logan's smiling from behind. She knows. Say hi to the boys for us. Okay, so that's it. The quesadillas are good to go. So if my lovely avocados were any more ripe that Tracy picked up for me today from Costco, then we'd be making guac to add to this, pile it on top, do whatever you want with it. It's such fun. Yes, Logan, we got another comment.
Christina said this is one of our favorites.
Oh, excellent. I love hearing that. And I'm not sure how long you've been on, Christina, but these are wraps made by Logan today, and she literally what was in it, Logan? It was
2 cups of flour.
Yeah.
A teaspoon of salt.
Yeah.
2 tablespoons of oil.
Yeah.
And 3/4 of a cup of water.
There we go. And then you just mix them up, made them into these balls about this big, rolled them out with a rolling pin, and then she put them into the frying pan. It was actually a lot like cooking pancakes because she had quite a bit of oil in the first couple, which ended up looking a little more like, kind of like this one, where a lot of oil was soaked up a little bit more, and then as you kind of keep on making them, then they end up fantastic. So that really didn't take long, and after the first batch that she made, she said, "Oh, I think I'm gonna make some more because they were really good." And also really, really easy to make. So I'm squishing all this down again, and then left it a little bit longer. Maybe that one's already toasted. So it's already gone nice and toasted on the outside. So thanks so much for being along, guys. The recipe, if you need it, is in an earlier post, or if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, then the recipe is below. And of course, you'll find it in Sprout Right Family Food, my book, which you can get from sproutright.com. And make sure you do check out the supplements that are there. Oh, one more comment, Logan.
Carolyn said, yes, thank you. Crazy but okay. How are you all? Doing my first Facebook Live tomorrow. Okay, well-being for cancer patients and getting some tips. XX.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my gosh, that's so, that's of such value, and it's going to be really impactful. So I know a lot of people who can do with that. Yes.
AJ also said, cheers, have a good night.
Thanks. All right.
Kim says, thank you and love you. Kim Emmanuel.
Who said that?
Kim Emmanuel.
Oh, hey Kim. Okay, so enjoy your quesadillas tonight, tomorrow, or whenever you decide. I'm just going to make a whole bunch of them with all the stuff that I have here, and then this is going to be dinner for tonight with a nice big salad. It's going to be lunch for tomorrow, possibly breakfast, depending on what time everybody gets up. Logan's giving me eyebrows like, what? But sometimes by the time she gets up and out of bed, you never really know. All right, so have a super evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Look forward to it, and keep on cooking together. Take care. Bye.